Welcome to How to Improve Our Planetary Karma with Venus, Shukraya. It is my greatest honor again to be here with Saptarishis Astrology and the team to be able to improve our planetary karma. As many of you know, when I first came into Saptarishi Astrology, Sunil asked me to do a mini-series on astrocartography. And for some time I did this, but my greatest passion, my greatest enthusiasm in this life is to how to improve our planetary karma. I think that all of one of the things that Sunil mentioned is the majority of our planetary karma is inherited from our past lifetimes. So when we work on improving this planetary karma, we're working on our past lifetime karma and the evolution of our soul. And so this is, I think, one of the greatest gifts that Jyotish can offer. So today we're going to use ancient techniques, some contemporary lifestyle practice, Ayurvedic recommendations and an Ayurvedic way of remediating Venus, and also paradigms or ways of thinking to improve our karmic relationships. So how in our consciousness to think about Venus to improve our karmic relationship. And therefore, we can improve whichever aim of life Venus is influencing in one's chart. You know, depending on where Venus sits in one chart, it's heavily affecting Dharma, Artha, Kama, or Moksha. It has natural indications for Kama, but depending on where it sits in the chart, this can kind of alternate that. So we're not going to say it's only assisting Kama, but can really assist any aim of life which Venus is influencing. And so if Venus is influencing your Moksha, by improving your karma with Venus, it is help liberating you. So this is just an example that Venus can really help improve any area and aim of life of which it's influencing. I broke our presentation into 6 parts today. First, we're going to discuss the basic energy of Shukraya and the karma that is concentrated within Venus, and how to understand that, and from an ancient perspective, from a Parashara lineage that I have studied, and also some of my own understandings of Venus karma. And then I will talk about Venus current transit in Pisces. Venus, in its exaltation form. And Venus karma and planetary dignity. I will also talk about Venus karma and planetary dignity. This is a very important aspect to understand because basically, depending on the planetary dignity of the Venus, it will either be influencing it in a most auspicious fashion, or there can definitely be some mixed inauspicious effects in there, and we'll discuss how those are influenced through the planetary dignity. And then I'll get into my favorite part of the presentation, which is now that we understand the karma, how to improve it. So we'll basically go into detail of how to improve this type of Venus karma that we're discussing. And then I have 4 examples from the community that were emailed in to me, 2 to 3 questions per example, having to do with their own charts and how to look at Venus karma in their own life. And then if we have time, I would love to take some live questions as well. We'll see where we are at the end of that community examples. Before we get started today, I always like to open with the traditional Jyotish mantra for these planets, the Navagraha Mantra. And Venus is particularly strong in my own chart. It's in Libra in the 9th house. So I've always had a strong connection to Venus, and this is actually one of my favorite chants to sing, one of my favorite chants to perform. It seems to just bring pleasure to the senses, and joy and happiness and contentedness. So if we'll all take some time, and if you recognize this chant wherever you are in the world, I encourage you to join me. The text is here on the board along with the Venus yantra, as is the translation. I'm going to perform this mantra, and if you recognize it, please join me. Otherwise, meditation will be totally beneficial during this chanting portion of the presentation. And let's all, in this time, take the moment to honor and connect the great guru of Shukraya. Imakunda Mrinalabam Daityanam Paramam Guru Sarva Shastra Pravaktaram Bhargavam Pranamam Yaham Imakunda Mrinalabam Daityanam Paramam Guru Sarva Shastra Pravaktaram Bhargavam Pranamamyaham Hima Kunda Manalabam Daichanam Paramam Gurum Sarva Shastra Pravaktaram Bhargavam Pranamamyaham Om Dram Dream Dram Sa Shukraya Nama Om Dram Dream Dram Sa Shukraya Nama Om Dram Dream Dram Sa Shukraya Nama Om Dram Dream Dram Sa Shukraya Nama. Hari Om Namah Shivaya. Namaste, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Shukraya mantra. So, to begin to discuss Venus karma, one of the reasons why I want to improve karma with all of the 9 planets, but why Venus now? Well, one, Venus is really strong because it's exalted now and it felt like in an alignment. And also, I'm in a Venus subperiod that just happened recently. So that seems to be in an alignment as well. But basically, I have always felt in my study of Jyotish that Venus is one of the commonly most misunderstood planets. That Venus is one of the most commonly misunderstood energies. And basically that sometimes we only see one side of Venus. But there's this whole other aspect of Venus which I think gets missed. And that's why I felt very important to discuss Venus so that we can understand many of these different aspects which aren't normally emphasized or spoken about Shukraya. And I, in my studies, have found it to be very strong energies. So while Venus is commonly associated, we think of Venus and we think of romantic love, beauty, women, partnership, music, art, money, wealth, finances, and the material expressions of the world. But Venus's metaphysical properties, those are beyond these more common aspects, are much more profound than these just primary significations that I just mentioned. Not that those aren't important, but that the metaphysical energy of Venus is even greater. Venus's metaphysical energy carries a guru vibration, and Venus is related to a specific limb of Vedic philosophy called Vedanta philosophy. And this is a very important aspect of Shadarshan, the different branches and limbs of Vedic philosophy. And in Vedanta philosophy, it means the ending of knowledge. So basically, this is the end of knowledge, the final realization point of wisdom. And it is also strongly related to the philosophy of non-duality, which is also a Western spiritual philosophy, but it's very concentrated in this aspect of Vedanta, as well as the energy of Venus. And so Venus, one of the primary ways in which it is described in the ancient texts, as you can see in the mantra before you, is that Venus is the gurus of duality. Venus is the great guru of duality. And this is a very esoteric metaphysical concept, and it needs to be dissected properly in order for us to understand what does it mean that Venus is this great guru of duality. So Venus is the force of the universe, Shukraya, which has complete knowledge of and rules all aspects of the universe which possess duality or an opposing force or energy. So other ways that we understand this concept, other than Vedanta philosophy, is in the Chinese spirituality, yin and yang energies, and the difference and the combination and the union of those energies. Sometimes we think of it in terms of black and white, positive, negative forces as well. These are all different ways of understanding the concept of duality or of opposing forces. Because Shukraya is the great guru of duality in all of these aspects, it has complete knowledge of the duality of the universe and how that manifests on Earth and in humanity. And in many ways, I think that Venus is directly connected to the human experience and what does it mean to be human? Because basically here on Earth, we have a dualistic experience. When we die, when we go through moksha, there's no more duality. There's no happy, sad, positive, negative, black, white. Everything is one. We are all one with the Paramatman. And at this point, duality does not exist. So duality is just something that we experience here on the material or the earthly realm. And so Venus is strongly connected to the control and power and rulership over that. Shukraya, as I mentioned, also has complete knowledge of the Vedanta philosophy or aspect of Vedas, which is the complete understanding, wisdom, and knowledge of the duality of the universe. And because of this knowledge or wisdom of duality, Daitya Guru, the guru of the Asuras, and therefore, as a soul, is able to go beyond the duality and end the soul's search for knowledge. So basically, one of the vibrations of Venus as the great guru is that there is so much wisdom of the duality of the universe, of the opposing forces of the universe, of positive, negative, of happy and sad, of everything that has an opposite. That Venus has such profound wisdom of the exact nature of the duality that it is able to go beyond it and no longer experience that duality, which in a sense is a form of enlightenment or a form of moksha. So this is Venus has a very high spiritual sattvic vibration that is might be commonly mistaken for something less than that. So for Shukraya, knowledge of duality and opposing forces of the universe in an ultimate yearning to go beyond duality. So even though we're experiencing duality as it relates to Venus type karma, ultimately Venus seeks to take us beyond that duality, which is the greatest form of wisdom. This can take many, many lifetimes. And you can, of course, see this through certain aspects of the chart. Now, these universal and human aspects of duality that I'm mentioning can be understood through certain examples in our paradigm of life. So I present some examples just so we can kind of understand, okay, Venus has connections and rulership of this aspect, but because of its connection to duality, it also has rulership and connection to that which is the opposite. And this needs to be heavily considered in the understanding of Venus. So good examples are happiness and sadness. Venus is connected to the Lord of the senses. It can help with pleasure and happiness, but it can also be indicated with sadness and pain, the internal expression of life and the external expression of life, good and evil. Again, these are forces that we understand dualistically, joy and sorrow, passive and aggressive. Any aspect of the universe which has an opposite or opposing force, some duality, that Venus is having a profound amount of influence over this vibration. It is this profound aspect of duality we experience as a humanity, as I mentioned, as well as the duality of the positive, negative, and good and evil forces of the universe. And this is also a parallel to Venus, the being the guru of the Asuras, or the demonic forces, which demons in Jyotish, or the Vedas, or Hinduism, are not necessarily can be attributed as 100% negative, but rather these Asuras can sometimes also be enlightened or yogis, but they are seeking eternal life. They are seeking the experience of their senses. They are seeking the material expressions of the universe. So basically, what makes an Asurus, in my understanding, is just the desire to keep living eternally. So the Asuras seek full knowledge of duality, as well as to experience all of the dualities that the universe has to offer. So basically, one of the karmas of the Asuras is to experience these opposing forces in the universe through whichever means necessary. And sometimes those means has a darker energy, which could be the darker side of the Asuras, but I don't automatically associate Asuras with a dark or negative vibration, but just to know that Venus is the lord and the ruler of this aspect of the universe. And so we're potentially these Asuras go to Venus. These demons go to Venus to seek liberation from the duality, because they are enslaved by the duality. So the Asuras, they're experiencing the duality, they're enslaved by duality, and Venus is the great guru that knows the universe beyond that. So Venus is the great guru that can help lead them into their spiritual evolution as well. So in a sense, Venus is really a profound guru and teacher to these Asuras. So understanding more aspects of how this duality manifests, Venus is commonly associated with marriage, romantic love, and our soul partnership. It has associations for the seventh house naturally. But as Venus is the profound guru of duality, Venus has profound dominion and influence on the divorce, breakup, and growing apart that takes place in a relationship as well. So yeah, Venus is connected to the marriage. Venus connected to that connection that you feel for the person. But Venus also has a profound amount of influence on the divorce that might happen in your marriage, or the breakup that you might go in your relationship, or the growing apart. I like the term growing apart. This doesn't have as much negative as an association. It's the two people that Venus has brought them together for some time and put their karmas together, and then naturally takes their karmas apart as well, and sometimes in a graceful way, because depending on the dignity of Venus, it can act very graceful. So even though Venus is associated with marriage, I want everyone to understand, from my understanding, it's also the divorce. Venus is commonly associated with wealth, material prosperity, objects of beauty, and income, and is naturally associated with Taurus in the second house. But as Shukraya is also the profound guru of duality, Venus has dominion and influence on these concepts of bankruptcy, poverty, unbeautiful conditions in the life, and difficulties in the income. So Venus in its positive karma might release some incredible wealth, millionaire, billionaire for the individual. But Venus in its challenging karma will certainly leave someone poverty-stricken and bankrupt. So just as much Venus rules wealth, we must know that Venus rules the bankruptcy as well. These are some of the aspects we can understand the dualistic vibration that I believe is the metaphysical property of Shukra. Shukra karma emulates and manifests these dualistic energies for an incredibly profound spiritual and metaphysical purpose. Shukra is known to be a sattvic planet, so we know that what Shukra wants for humanity and its dominion has a very high spiritual guru vibration. It's coming from a clear sattvic place. Shukra assists humanity to be in balance and harmony with every aspect of the universe. This is the real beautiful karma. To just simplify it, to describe the karma. What does Venus want? What is Venus helping us work on for many, many, many lifetimes. It is assisting humanity, you, me, every single human being on this earth, to be in balance and harmony with every other aspect of the universe. This sattvic intention, this balance that I'm talking about, includes our internal, external balance, as well as harmony with our body, mind, and spirit. This includes balance and harmony with duality as it exists in the universe in general. This sattvic intention also includes balance and harmony with the animal kingdom, as well as balance and harmony with the plant kingdom, as well as balance and harmony with the planet Earth. So basically, on the deepest, most metaphysical of levels, what Venus karma is helping promote is to put us in balance with human, to put us in both stranger, family, friend, co-worker, also all the animals of the earth, also all of the plants of the earth, also the earth itself and the planets and the stars and the universe and God. So this sattvic intention of Venus can't be emphasized enough. And it really emphasizes balance and harmony on the greatest level. We talked about the human, animal, plant, but also with all of the 9 planets, with the celestial and the divine, with Shiva, Krishna, Ma, Shakti, all of the different aspects and manifestation of the divine. So it really is seeking balance and harmony on the deepest of levels. And for this intention, we always should be in gratitude and praise of Shukra. Now, Shukra karma includes the manifestation of this balance and harmony through the experience of the dualistic and opposing forces. And so ultimately, when Venus karma is strong with someone, especially in terms of their spiritual evolution, it suggests a path without duality or extremism. So their path is a path without any duality or extremism to it. That is eventually what the Venus karma is seeking. This is the path of the middle way, or is called the golden path, and this is a path that is commonly described in Buddhism. This Shukraya influenced spirit and Vedanta philosophy. This Shukraya influenced spiritual path is one which contains no duality or extreme, but rather is a manifestation of pure balance and harmony. So how do we improve our karma with Venus? Well, to understand that if Venus wants us to be balanced and harmonious, no duality or extreme. So one of the best things that we can do is this golden path, or this middle way, is really a strong. We're getting a little into remedy right now, but it's also understanding the karma of Venus as well, which is encouraging balance and harmony in our spiritual evolution in the deepest of ways. So ultimately, in our karmic evolution with Shukraya, whether it's in this lifetime or an earlier lifetime, we have to experience both aspects of the duality or the extremes. So basically, the dualities are there and they exist for a reason, and we're meant to experience them as human beings. And so Venus relates to this. We have to experience both aspects of this duality. And so in order to eventually arrive at a position of balance and harmony, so the experience of duality leads to finding the middle. If you experience some extreme, it can, on both sides, it can lead you to the middle way. And even the great Greek philosopher Plato and Aristotle believe this to be a true concept philosophically as well. Regarding both dualities in one lifetime, so sometimes the experiences and lessons regarding this duality, so sometimes the extremes that we're experiencing, they manifest in one lifetime. So sometimes we experience both dualities in the same lifetime and find the middle way or the golden path throughout the lifetime. And that is a blessing if you can do it all in one life. But basically, it's more common for it to take place over many lifetimes. So sometimes we experience extremism for an entire lifetime, and then the next lifetime is the other extreme, and then it's the third lifetime that is the middle path. So it is always, whether it manifests in one lifetime or many lifetimes, we experience this duality in order to lead us back to the middle. So in other words, sometimes Venus karma can manifest both dualities or extremes and achieve balance and harmony in the same lifetime. So you can experience both extremes and get to that middle way or golden path in this lifetime, but can also emphasize one extreme throughout the entire lifetime and emphasize the balance or harmony that one is going to find in future lifetimes. And when Venus is debilitated, for example, this is a very strong karma. It's like you are going to experience the duality in this lifetime, and it might not be moderation or balance or the middle path in that specific way. For example, many people with debilitated Venus, they have drug addiction or alcoholism. Why? Because they have to be sober in this lifetime. Venus would love it if you were able to have one glass of wine, but because of your karma, you cannot have one glass of wine in this lifetime, or it'll lead you back to heroin or lead you back to drinking 10 glasses of wine every day. So basically, this is one of the ways that the challenge in karma of Venus in terms of the duality, sometimes we experience an extreme of one's lifetime where, you know, alcohol can't be used in moderation. So because of a tendency to alcoholism, so one has to remain abstinent from alcohol for their entire lifetime. This is a really strong example that is common. Yeah. So as we dive deeper into Venus karma, I want to understand that it presents two deep metaphysical yearnings or questions that must be answered by the soul's journey and its karmic evolution with Venus. So these are basically the questions that Venus is encouraging the soul to make and to answer throughout their lifetime. So it's heavily influenced on the karma. Again, it's always connected to duality. So these karmas have a potential, depending on the dignity of Venus, to manifest in a dualistic fashion. But nonetheless, these karmas reveal themselves commonly throughout Venus Mahadasha and associations with Venus in one's chart. The first question that relates to what is a soulmate. The soul question is associated with the yearning for the soulmate or the life partner. With this yearning comes other questions, including whether an individual believes that a soulmate even exists, because many people don't even believe in soulmates. And if you do believe in soulmates, whether you believe you have one finite soulmate, so like one soulmate that is just for you, and there's only one possibility, or sometimes we believe that there are multiple soulmate possibilities. Maybe there are 5 soulmate possibilities, there's 7 soulmate possibilities, there are 10 soulmate possibilities. Basically, though, that the Venus karma will beg these questions. What is the soulmate? Do I believe in the soulmate? Who is my soulmate? What is a soulmate? How do I want this to manifest? All of these soul level questions under the realm and dominion of Venus. So also embedded within these questions and beliefs as relates to soulmate or life partner are the energies, knowledge, and beliefs as to what the duties or role of a soulmate or partner is. So in association with the question of what is a soulmate, also comes the question, what is the duty of the soulmate? What is the role of the soulmate? What is the duty of the partner? What is the role of the partner? And the energies that are necessary to both create, sustain, preserve, and deepen that relationship over time. So that's the first aspect that I want to mention. The second profound metaphysical energy that I really think Shukraya manifests is our karma's lessons and energies around the concept of what is money, what is the dollar, what is the rupee, what is the euro. This question is such a profound question. The soul's karma and question around this concept is associated with the proper value of money. That means that the value of money in the world is properly understood. Money is an embodiment of duality. If there's one thing that we can take and put it in front of our faces and say, this is duality, it's the dollar. So basically, this understanding money and this finding the peace and the balance with this concept of wealth and money is a really strong karma that relates to Venus as well. So that is the value of money in this world, in this duality that we're existing, is understood properly. And therefore, money is not overvalued or undervalued in the world. So basically, with the proper karma with Venus and in the evolution with Venus, we do not overvalue money, we do not undervalue money, and we properly understand its function and use in this duality. In a sense, it's a great wisdom that comes from Venus. And the Asuras are certainly seeking this wisdom in their experience. So deeply embedded within these questions and belief systems that relate to the value of wealth and money are the ability to appreciate the external, material, and beautiful aspects of life and everything it has to offer. Money is basically something we associate a value to, but it's rather arbitrary, although it was originally in the United States based on the gold standard and things like that. But basically, it's an arbitrary thing that we associate a value to. And so this value that we associate to this piece of paper, this has a very strong vibration. And so it is connected to our ability to appreciate the external material and beautiful aspects of life and everything it has to offer. And it's like associated with our ability to put value towards things. This falls under the energies of appreciating and coming into balance with beauty in all of its forms. This can include art, music, entertainment, and anything else in the universe which possesses beauty in its essence. So anything which possesses beauty, there is some energy of coming to have a proper relationship with this thing. And Sunil mentioned this aspect when he was like one of the key energies of Venus. And this is one of the key energies of Venus, the full realization of the beauty of the universe. But it's also coming into balance and harmony with that beauty, coming into moderation with that beauty, coming into refinement and sophistication towards that beauty. This is some of the natural evolution that takes place in these areas with Venus. So that is just to touch on the Venus karma. As we get into the planetary dignities, we will get deeper into the karmic aspects, but this is just some of the ways that I think are the most important ways of understanding Shukraya and its karma. Both understanding all of the beauty and the love and the romance and the money and all of those beautiful things, but also the duality of it, also the opposite of all of those things, depending on the position, the dignity, and the karma that one's chart is associated with Shukra. So I'd like to discuss Venus current transit for a little bit because that was some of the energy that helped promote the inspiration for this. Venus originally entered the Jupiter-ruled constellation or Rashi of Pisces on January 28, 2017, so in late January. And Venus advanced through Pisces until March 5th. And on March 5th, Venus went into a retrograde. So this was a very long exalted Venus period. And I felt that this was one of the longest exalted Venus periods that I could even remember. And because of that, I felt the need that this was very important timing for the Shukra webinar. And so Venus traveled retrograde in Pisces until April 16, 2017, when it began traveling forward again. And eventually Shukra will leave Pisces Rashi and enter Aries Rashi at the end of the month on May 31st. So we are really reaching the culmination of this very long, because Venus travels fairly quickly. And the fact that Venus is in Pisces from January 28 to May 31st is a very long transit for Venus. And so this is very important to understand the power of this energy right now. So Venus is exalted in Pisces Rashi and therefore has profound implications and energies during that transit. While Shukraya is traveling forward in an exalted state, so we're talking about when Shukra was in Pisces but not retrograde, it rewards a highly auspicious and benefic energies to the universe. Now, the retrograde movement in Pisces during the transit does not always cause a benefic or auspicious effect. And actually, when an exalted planet is retrograde, sometimes it will act debilitated. So basically, during some of this transit, while the Venus has been retrograde, there have been some very mixed or challenging effects that come from this Venus as well. And that's, I feel, mainly due to that it was traveling in a retrograde state for some time. Retrograde Venus can cause unusual desires, and those that have retrograde Venus might naturally have unusual desires in their chart. It also may show difficulties in karmas relating to relationship and finances. So these Venus exalted but retrograde periods can actually be challenging to the relationship, be challenging to the financial vibration. The Pisces vibration gives the retrograde Venus profound power. So the exalted is giving it power, and then the retrograde Venus is causing that transformation and changes in the areas of relationship and finances. So we might be experiencing some aspects of the more challenging aspect of the duality when Venus is in a retrograde state, but that is only aiding transformation and change in these areas that are essential for our spiritual evolution or growth. Or one could even say just for our balance and harmony in life. So basically that even though we might be facing challenges in wealth and relationships during the retrograde or exalted Venus period, it causes the necessary transformation and change in those areas as well for the future prosperity. So it's sometimes a necessary thing, like as I mentioned, to experience both sides of the duality. Now, when Venus is retrograde, what an individual, and this is for natives that have Venus retrograde in their chart, and we just went through a period where there's a strong Venus retrograde. When Venus is retrograde, when an individual finds and appreciates in terms of beauty can be very unique and outside of the traditional definition of beauty, or outside of the traditional picture of beauty, or outside of the traditional idea of beauty. There's a great quote that says, "Beauty is in the eye of the beholder." And this quote holds particularly true for the retrograde Venus, that really, for the retrograde Venus, beauty is unique and in the eye of its beholder. More discussing about this exaltation period and what does it mean that Venus is exalted in Pisces is to know that from Parashara, Venus is exalted in the Jupiter-ruled sign of Pisces. And mathematically speaking, when I learned Jyotish, when a planet enters an exaltation, it receives 100% auspicious effect and a 0% inauspicious effect. Now, there are so many aspects that it's never 100% or 0% anything. But basically, this is just an energy to understand what an exaltation means. The positive, auspicious, benefic effect that is experienced with an exalted planet is further emphasized and promoted by both Venus and Jupiter's benefic and sattvic nature. So Jupiter's ruler, Pisces ruler, which is Jupiter, is sattvic. Venus is sattvic. And so an exaltation of a sattvic planet or a sattvic energy is a lot more understood as a just overall benefic energy than that when an exalted planet of a rajasic or tamasic vibration. So it's important to know that the exaltation is sattvic, and this has profound auspicious indications. This auspicious blessing or benefit has profound significations for both past lifetime and current lifetime energies. That include a combination of Venus's inherent karmas and energies combined with the guru and spiritual vibrational energies of Jupiter and Pisces. So basically, my understanding is that you earn an exalted Venus from your past lifetime karma. And how would you earn this? There is a great knowledge of the duality. There is a great wisdom of the duality. There is a great combination of the expression of the duality of life and one's spiritual growth and one's spiritual evolution and their higher connection. This Venus exaltation, it's very beautiful. From a karmic perspective, exalted Venus, as I mentioned, is inherited from past lifetime karmic work and the wisdom and lessons of Shukraya. This past lifetime karmic work can consist of having wisdom on a soul level. So the wisdom at a soul level of the duality of the universe. So basically, there is a natural knowledge or wisdom on a soul level of what does it mean to be a human being and to the duality that being a human being presents, and how to experience it in a harmonious and balanced way, as well as the potential to go beyond it. Now, an exalted Venus in its basic and inherent nature should bless the native with an inherent ability and lifetime growth potential in terms of refinement, sophistication, class, elegance, spirituality, and philosophy. So one understanding is that you possess these qualities from a past lifetime perspective with an exalted Venus, and you are remembering them throughout your lifetime, but also it is your natural inclination to grow in these ways, to grow in one's refinement, to grow in one's sophistication, class, elegance. So spirituality as well as philosophy. So this Venus exaltation period, it's always a time of great refinement and sophistication and growth in these ways. This exaltation encourages profound spiritual growth and even spiritual belief and faith through the experience of the beauty of all that life has to offer, and in a balanced and harmonious way experiencing the dualities of the universe. So these vibrations of Venus and Pisces, they go really well together, and it's a very auspicious alignment. Now, the debilitation of Venus, the duality, the opposite. So what does it mean when Venus is debilitated? Well, Venus is debilitated in the Mercury-ruled sign of Virgo. Mathematically speaking, when a planet enters debilitation, and of course there can always be aspects, so it's never 100 or 0%. But when a planet enters debilitation, mathematically speaking, it receives 100% inauspicious effect and a 0% auspicious effect. So you might be getting an auspicious effect from some other aspects, but the Venus debilitation is making some of Venus's manifestation or duality inauspicious. Now, the inauspicious effect of a planet that is sattvic and benefic in its nature, like Shukraya, does not remove all the positive benefit of the planet. So just because Venus is debilitated does not mean that you will not get the benefit of planet. And actually, many people with debilitated Venus are incredible artists. They're incredible artists. They're incredible musicians. Sometimes it can really manifest in this way where it also gives this incredible gift. But that doesn't mean that the karma isn't challenging in some way. It does, however, make the karma that relates to it a little more malefic. So when Venus is debilitated, Venus's karma does manifest in a more malefic fashion. And it can be very challenging over the course of the native's lifetime, the debilitated Venus, as well as its Maha and Antardasha period. So if you have a debilitated Venus, it can be a challenge throughout the lifetime, and particularly in the Dasha and Bhukti of Shukraya as well. So from a past lifetime perspective, these natives with a debilitated Venus had some difficulty and challenge in their Shukraya related karma. So basically, their past lifetime energies of the debilitated Venus has indication that overemphasizes perfection, idealism, analytical qualities, an extreme or dualistic nature, and a constant improvement preoccupation from a past lifetime perspective. So I'm saying with the debilitated Venus, these are some of the karmas that your soul is working on improving for many lifetimes. And these are some of the things that are going to be naturally a struggle because of the debilitated Venus. And when Venus is debilitated in the transit, we are naturally inclined to these more challenging vibrations. Perfection and harmony are not the same thing. Perfection and harmony are not the same vibration, but rather dualistic energies towards each other. So sometimes we think that beauty, that harmony is the same thing as perfection. But I am saying that, and I feel that these are opposite forces. And so this is the debilitated Venus vibration, which is unable to differentiate perfection from beauty, which is unable to differentiate perfection from harmony. And perfection and harmony are not the same vibration, because perfection, it doesn't exist in the duality. And someone with an exalted Venus would probably feel that. The karma of a debilitated Venus manifests in the native's current lifetime with challenges, difficulty, and a lack of ultimate positive manifestation of the positive rewards and karmas of Venus, which include balance and harmony with every aspect of the universe, including the body, mind, spirit, animals, plants, planets, and the divine aspects. So basically, sometimes the debilitated Venus can kind of lack certain rewards. So for example, someone with the debilitated Venus will be a great artist, but they will lack the reward of wealth from their art. They will lack the reward of fame from their art, at least until they're dead. So this is an energy that is certainly contained within a debilitation of Venus. I see Venus debilitated a lot, so I understand that as a humanity, it's something that we struggle with. So I spoke in some more detail about what I think that vibration, how that karma manifests. A debilitated Venus does not mean that the inauspicious karmas are fixed throughout the native's entire lifetime, but rather, since it's a dual sign, there are some aspects of the karma there can be fixed, that can be worked through, but also definitely some aspects that are changeable or movable. In other words, when Venus is debilitated, with spiritual approach and intention to improve that karmic connection, a great amount of spiritual improvement in the relationship with Shukra in this lifetime manifests. Because Shukra is a guru, because it is a sattvic planet, when we are seeking to improve our karma with Venus, there is a strong ability for it to improve. And this is very true for a debilitation of Venus, that there is a great amount of potential for the karma to improve. So the debilitation Venus might make someone an alcoholic, but if they remain sober throughout this entire lifetime, then they are so greatly improving their karma with Venus. There is nothing better an alcoholic can do in this lifetime than to stay sober from alcohol to improve their karma with Venus. So also, since the Venus debilitation contains profound dualistic energies and some of the more challenging aspects, that sometimes individuals will need to experience a form of extreme or duality throughout their lifetime in order to achieve balance and harmony with themselves and the universe. Inherently taking an extreme or dualistic approach to something, one could say even a perfect approach, which does not exist, in order to achieve balance in this lifetime. This can be positive and improve the Venus karma for the native throughout the lifetime, and particularly in the dasha periods. So inherently taking it to achieve balance in this lifetime, when the Venus is debilitated, it can actually show that the extreme approach is beneficial, because naturally you are still meant to experience some of the duality. So for those with debilitated Venus, the middle way or the golden path is not necessarily their path in this lifetime, but might be a path in future lifetimes. In this lifetime, they might need to remain abstinent from certain things. Examples of this energy would be an individual that has preclusions to obsessions and addictions towards money, materiality, romance, love, drugs, sex, or alcohol. Therefore, it is in the best interest and improvement of their karma with Venus to denounce these aspects of the universe in this lifetime, which should greatly improve the Venus karma. So because the Venus is debilitated, you are predisposed to obsession or addiction in one of those following areas, and therefore your karma is greatly improved by denouncing that, denouncing it, completely removing it and separating it from one's life. And this is extreme, but is beneficial for those with the debilitated Venus, to denounce that. And I think even Sunil mentioned something along these lines when he was sharing as well. Venus ultimately seeks to put us in balance with money, love, and all of the beautiful experiences that life has to give. But sometimes when those beautiful experiences cannot be appreciated, understood in a sophisticated, refined, moderate, balanced, or harmonious fashion, basically, if we can't enjoy something properly, it can be best for these natives to practice complete abstinence or renouncement in their soul's eventual journey to complete peace, balance, and harmony with these aspects. So those with the debilitated Venus, they can be very predisposed to difficulties in these worldly aspects, and so they do a great benefit by denouncing them in their lives. So that's the debilitation of Venus. Very interesting. And it's amazing how common it is in when I'm reading charts. Namaste, Inge. Any thoughts on debilitation of Venus?
No, not on the debilitation, actually, but I was wondering because many people describe Venus as a rajasic planet. You were quoting it as sattvic because of being in Pisces only, or how you reach there? This I could not.
Yeah,
Really.
I was actually taught by Dr. Vasant Lad that that Shukraya is a Sattvic planet. Uh,
Okay.
so one could say that it's Sattvic from an Ayurvedic perspective. Now,
Probably.
now the I agree to those that say that there is a rajasic aspect of Venus because Venus has a concentration of Vata dosha, and so this is also a part of Venus as well. That this rajasic vibration, but this I guess I'm emphasizing the sattvic vibration of Venus, but in terms of its great desire to put us in balance and harmony with all of these aspects of the universe. That intention, that desire is sattvic desire. Balance and harmony is one of the most sattvic thoughts. And so Venus has a strong indication for that.
Okay. Okay, I can follow it. It's just according to Riyad Parasha Ora Shastra, it is different, no? That was it.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I actually think that the main, when you analyze the Ayurvedic dosha and the qualities of Venus, it contains both kapha and vata, and and the vata is showing the rajasic aspect, and the kapha is showing the more guru sattvic aspect of the Venus vibration. So I would say that that Venus is also, yes, definitely indeed a rajasic planet because it contains the vata dosha, and a lot of the dualities that we experience challenge the vata dosha.
It's a searching implementation also, no?
Yeah.
In search.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, definitely has a rajasic and vata influence as well. So to talk a little bit more about Venus and its planetary dignities, Venus rules and owns the sign Taurus and Libra. Both signs, Taurus and Libra, contain concentrated Shukraya vibrations within them, and therefore, when aligned with Venus in the natal chart, create profoundly strong Venus energy karma and integrate Venusian nature into the native. So sometimes that actually Venus in its own sign can be stronger than an exaltation of Venus because Venus is very strong in its own sign and can have this very profound influence into making the person very Venus in their nature. And it's interesting, I have Venus in Libra, so I would have this Venus nature to some extent as well. Venus aligned within its own sign contains, I believe, a majorly auspicious energy overall. Parashara believes it to be about just slightly benefic. And individuals with Venus and Taurus and Libra should reap karmic rewards throughout their lifetime with Shukraya. So there should be great benefit depending on certain aspects of having Venus in its natural sign. Now, when Venus is concentrated within Taurus, it has profound significations for financial, material, and lifetime experiential accumulations and prosperity. This gives profound ability and encouragement to enjoy all the beauty and experience that life has to offer, and this certainly includes finances. This auspicious accumulative energy is emphasized when Venus is in the 2nd, 4th, 5th, 10th, and 11th houses in Taurus. It's very profoundly accumulative and positive in that sense. Now, when Venus is concentrated within Libra Rashi, it has profound significations for the prioritization, emphasis, and seeking of balance and harmony in this ultimate sense. This alignment shows a soul seeking balance and harmony on an intense level, as well as the profound indications for alignment in our relationships, particularly romantic, because Libra has an association with romantic relationship. This alignment also emphasizes the ability to enjoy the beauty of life in all of its expressions and can show many beautiful experiences throughout one's life, Venus and Libra. This balance and harmony with the universe that comes with Venus and Libra can be emphasized in the Lagna and in the houses 4, 7, 9, and 12. Although depending on its, there are certain mixed effects, particularly when Venus is in the 7th house, but there are strong indications, particularly if it's in Libra there. Now, Venus relates to the sign Gemini through the planet Mercury, and there is considered a general friendship between Shukraya and Buddha. So between Venus and Mercury, there is considered to be this general positive relationship. Venus has an auspicious vibration in Gemini Rashi, aligning harmony, balance, beauty, and pleasure with intelligence and communication, the gifts of Buddha. This alignment encourages sociability, varietal gifts, deep love, and appreciation of communication, and can have particular indications for abilities in speaking, reading, writing, and comedy, as well as social abilities, as I mentioned. It can also help, this combination of Venus and Gemini, it can aid to make the native very intellectually creative and endearing and delightful in their disposition. So just naturally very like sweet, warm, and kind person. And also there should be an intellectual creativity there. Now, Venus relates to the sign Sagittarius through the planet Jupiter, through Guru, and there is considered to be a relatively neutral relationship between Shukraya and Guru, in my understanding, but some Vedic philosophers believe this to be actually a challenging or a malefic relationship. So Venus, at the very least, will have a mixed vibration in Sagittarius Rashi. It attempts to bring peace, balance, beauty, and harmony into the fire energy of Sagittarius, which promotes aggressive energies. It does promote aggressive energies, particularly towards standing for the truth, freedom, equality, fairness, morals, and ethics, these energies of the Sagittarius. This fiery vibration can be challenging for Venus. This Pitta aspect, when fire and Venus are together, there's always a challenging mixed effect. And so this fiery vibration can be challenging for Venus, depleting Shukra of its necessary ojas. And so one of the things that Dr. Vasant Lad also taught me is that Shukraya is the planet of ojas and has this powerful indication for its representation of ojas, was the nourishing force in our lives that we need to survive. And basically, this fiery vibration of Sagittarius, and whenever fire is associated with Venus, it can be challenging and depleting to the ojas in one's system. And it can be depleting of one's nourishment because they're in a fight for all that is right, just, and true in the world. So the fight is fair, the fight is just, all of these energies are powerful and meaningful, but at the same time, it's depleting ojas and particularly challenging to the body. This combination, if it's in the 8th house or the 6th house, I always have particular Ayurvedic light that goes off that says this needs to be remediated from an Ayurvedic perspective. The conjunction of Shukra in Sagittarius promotes auspicious vibrations. We talked about the challenges. I also always love to talk about the positives of devotion and love to humanity, truth, equality, freedom, fairness, and justice. It makes you a lover of these things, an appreciator of these things, an enjoyer of these things. It can also promote an open mind and a free-spirited individual. This is a very free-spirited combination of Venus and Sagittarius, and often they are gifted in the arts. This can be a very fiery, gifted artistic expression. Especially if it's in like the 5th house, for example. This combination can also create some challenging effect of anti-authoritative vibrations, rebelliousness, and extremism or dualities in the native's approach to life. And again, this is just the challenge the fire can often bring to Venus. Pitta basically depleting ojas, or tejas burning ojas from an Ayurvedic perspective you have in this whenever fire and Shukraya are together. Now, Venus relates to the signs Aries and Scorpio through the planet Mars, and it is majorly considered to be an enemy relationship between Kujaya Mangalaya and Shukra. Other philosophers analyze this relationship as one of a love-hate relationship, and I've always loved that understanding of it, and that's really resonated with me. Now, Venus is also traditionally known as the top advisor in the planetary hierarchy, particularly to the queen. And Mars can be understood as the general of the king's army. So one of the ways that we can understand this is the advisor to the queen and the general of the king's army, and how they would interact with each other. It's a very feminine vibration and a very masculine vibration. One is connected to the queen, one is connected to the king. So there's these vibrations which are already presenting itself as a challenge. One of the ways that I really like understanding this challenge, sometimes I say Venus is a princess, and people are like, wow, that's a strange way to describe Venus. But it makes sense for understanding how Venus interacts with Mars. Another helpful analogy to help understand this relationship of how Venus will act in its conjunction with Mars and Mars signs is that the general of is to understand Mars as the general of the king's army, the top general, the leader of the wars and the battles, while Venus is the refined, sophisticated, and elegant princess. While this romantic relationship between the general and the princess can be powerful, intense, and profound energetically, it inherently presents a challenge between the very difference in the nature between the advisor slash princess and the general. In other words, the affair is very potent. The affair between this feminine vibration and this masculine vibration, that affair is very potent. It's passionate, it's intense, it's sensual, it's profound. But by the very nature, their relationship would not work out in the long run because of the remarkable difference in their caste, dharma, character, and nature. They come from different castes. They come from different backgrounds. They come from different vibrations. So even though that affair would certainly be passionate and fiery and beautiful, that in the long run, that relationship would just not work out. And that is one of the analogies I like for understanding this. Therefore, Venus conjunction in Mars signs embodies the dynamic nature of this analogy and certainly contains this mixed effect in terms of auspicious and inauspicious energies for those natives that have Venus in Aries and Scorpio in their charts. Venus has a mixed karmic effect, I believe, in Aries Rashi, and can have profound impact on the love-hate relationship paradigm in one's life. As I mentioned, this love-hate relationship. This because Aries is a very aggressive Pitta and masculine Rashi. This conjunction can influence natives to speak and act to accomplish goals and to emphasize bringing pleasure to themselves and others, and can encourage attractive, smooth talker, passion, energy, and promote one's inner child. These are all the positive vibrations. Venus in Aries has a mixed effect, and there are some very positive vibrations that can be promoted. And we talked about the emphasis of bringing pleasure to themselves and others, and they will be beautiful, and they can be good at speaking, and very sexy and passionate. This energy can be very strong when Venus is in Aries. Challenges in this junction creates aggression, really strong aggressive vibrations, and a love-hate heartbreak situation, and can lead to promoting one's goals or desires over others. So in other words, selfishness or lack of consideration of others is a challenge when Venus is in Aries. This conjunction can be particularly challenging in terms of relationship when selflessness is the best karma. In a relationship, selflessness is the best karma. So this karma can be challenging in relationship, romance, and love. But it also encourages passion in love. But on the challenging side, could show one being predisposed to being over intimate, so having a hyper emphasis on intimacy, and also prematurely intimate, getting intimate too quickly in the relationship. This conjunction highly emphasizes the love-hate paradigm in the romance relationship karma. Now, of course, depending on the house, it can influence this in a different way. Now, Venus has a mixed karmic effect when in Scorpio Rashi, and can also have profound impact on the transformation one goes through to find balance and harmony. I like to think of this as a spiritual vibration of Venus and Scorpio. This conjunction also emphasizes love-hate energies because of the connection between Venus and Mars, but shows profound interest in the areas of the unknown because of Scorpio, which with Venus heavily emphasizes and includes Tantra. Tantra, again, deep Vedic concept. And when Venus is in Scorpio, it can show a natural connection and inclination to Tantra as part of one's spiritual evolution, particularly if you were to find Venus in the 8th or 9th house, maybe the 12th house as well. This conjunction is a mystical conjunction and is emphasized through the 5th, 8th, 9th, and 12th houses. This is where I really like to see this conjunction for a mystical, spiritual effect. Generally, this conjunction promotes incredible passion, sensuality, strength, and supports the natives' unique artistic gifts, as well as makes them interesting because of their areas of interest and experiences. So these people might be gifted in the arts, particularly in unusual, strange, or unknown manifestations of it. This conjunction has more challenging karmic effects in that it can heavily promote scandals and desires for unusual aspects of pleasure. So this is a challenging combination of Venus and Scorpio, depending on its position, because it promotes scandals and desires for unusual pleasure, such as intoxication and alternative or unusual forms of sex. Again, this conjunction isn't always an aspect, but can sometimes show up in my research. This conjunction tends to emphasize over intimacy as well as getting intimate prematurely. This Mars-Venus combination, it has these struggles with intimacy. And undoubtedly, however, this conjunction contains the auspicious energies of strength, passion, charisma, and magnetism. Venus relates to the signs Capricorn and Aquarius through Shani Deva. Om Namah Shivaya, Jai Shani Deva. There is majorly considered to be a friend relationship between Shani and Shukra. And this is very interesting to think of and understand. When Venus relates to the sign Capricorn, we find an auspicious vibration as well as a mixed effect, because pretty much whenever you're working with Saturn, it's a mixed effect, because even though it may be beneficial for you spiritually, it might be challenging for you materially, or it can be benefiting you materially and challenging you spiritually. So there can always be a mixed effect, kind of. Even though Venus and Saturn are friends, there's still a mixed effect because of sometimes Saturn, the way Saturn teaches lessons, and its natural karma is Kṣaṇāti. But we find an auspicious vibration as well as a mixed effect, is basically what I'm saying when Venus is in Saturn signs. But there is an auspicious energy. One with this conjunction will achieve great success, achievement, relationship, and wealth, but only through enduring adversities, delays, challenges, and obstacles, which are common associated with Saturn and Capricorn. So basically, there is a strong indication for success, achievement, wealth, and all of these things. But one has to go through a necessary amount of adversity, delays, challenge, and obstacles in order to get there. And this is heavily emphasizing the dualistic aspect of Venus that I was emphasizing earlier. Now, those with Venus and Capricorn will achieve and prosper in their life as long as they can endure and persevere through the adversities that presents itself. Sometimes they can be tempted to run away, but they really achieve success and prosperity by showing up and persevering and enduring when adversity presents itself. So it has this indication for great success, but there must be an enduring factor because of Kṣaṇāti. So when Venus relates to the sign Aquarius, Kumbha, we find very powerful creative and consciousness evolving vibrations. This alignment encourages the native to be innovative and creative in various fields and endeavors. This can be a very positive creative alignment. Due to Aquarius's relationship with Saturn, however, this conjunction can also manifest certain delays, tests, and challenges that must be overcome for the ultimate innovation and creativity to manifest. Basically, that there are tests and delays and challenges and the obstacles for those with Venus and Aquarius, and those tests and challenges and delays, when we overcome those obstacles, deeply evolve and innovate and grow the consciousness. So there also must be this overcoming of adversity, but it lends to incredible innovation and creativity for those natives that have Aquarius and Venus in conjunction. Now, Venus relates to the sign Leo through the sun. It is majorly considered to be an enemy relationship between Surya and Shukra. It is commonly considered to be an enemy relationship. Now, one way that I understand this kind of vibration, again, is similarly how I explain Mars and Venus, is one way that we can understand the sun and Venus, is that the king, which is the sun, he is the great ruler. And so he honors the role of Venus, both as the top advisor to the queen and as the princess. But Venus, in her role as the top advisor to the queen or the princess, does not much care for the king, because first of all, she's the top advisor to the queen, A, not the king, and B, that she's the top advisor to the king, and that is really important, that she would not necessarily always align with the energies of Surya. Now, when Venus is within Leo, it creates a powerful mixed effect of both auspicious and inauspicious energies. This contains positive energies and difficult or challenging energies, potentials within it. Whenever Shukra is in a fire sign or in conjunction with the fiery planet, it becomes aggravated, aggressive, and uncomfortable. It also, from an Ayurvedic perspective, Tejas burning Ojas. It also aids and allows for great power, strength, and leader-type charisma. Those with Venus and Leo can have these powerful, artistic, leadership, charismatic energies. This conjunction embodies strong personality with a profound potential for class, elegance, self-confidence, and a leader with profound charisma. In the social, artistic, and romantic arena is where they really shine. Challenges invoked by this conjunction, however, include an overemphasis on the ego. There can be a really strong ego with those natives that have Venus and Leo. They can struggle with and again, this is important in the self-knowledge and the self-promotion and the self-growth. But again, there could be an overemphasis on the ego with this conjunction and the individual's will. I talked about when Venus and when Venus and fire are together, it can cause selfishness. And so this can also cause somewhat of a vulnerability to selfish disposition, as well as arrogance, vanity, and a dominating personality. So I really want to cover both the positive, inauspicious, and auspicious aspects of the sun and Venus. Now, Venus relates to the sign Cancer through the moon, and this is also majorly considered to be a enemy relationship, but also some astrologers consider it to be a friend relationship. Now, as the top advisor to the queen, there would be a very important karmic relationship there. But Venus is much more refined than the queen. Venus is much more sophisticated than the queen, than the moon. And so as far as the enemy relationship, one of the ways that I can kind of understand that enemy is the top advisor to the queen, first of all, is always working, is always advising, and so the queen is her boss. And so who normally likes their boss? A. B is, with the energy of the queen, is that Venus is like the princess and this refinement and sophistication, and the moon can be indulgent. The moon can be over emotional, and Venus is too refined or sophisticated for these qualities. When Venus is within Cancer, it creates an intense mixed effect of both auspicious and inauspicious energies. The combination of these female energies creates a very powerful sense of love and devotion. So this can be very powerful connection to the Divine Mother, powerful feminine vibration. It also allows to be very unconditionally loving and caring to all humanity. A lot of these aspects of Venus and Cancer I find really beautiful. This connection between Cancer and Venus also supports powerful dreams, imaginations, and creativity. This conjunction on the challenging side comes up in the emotion because it creates hypersensitivity and a heightened sense perception and awareness. In this alignment, if there are troubles with the family, it will cause profound unhappiness in the life of the native. So basically, that if the family isn't happy, then the person cannot be happy. For those that have Venus in Cancer, is very strong. And this emotional combination of Venus and Cancer, which is why it's slightly enemy, can be indulgent in its nature, and also prioritizes the emotions to lead the body, mind, and spirit consciousness for the native. That when Venus is in Cancer, the native is predisposed to putting the emotions first, acting out of emotions first. Emotions first, think later. So there's this concept of putting and prioritizing emotions first that can be challenging.
Interesting. Angelina Jolie has her Venus in Cancer in the first house. So when you mentioned protecting her family,
yeah,
above all,
yeah,
certainly very emotional.
Yeah, and
Protective and caring. Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful and really feminine, and also has its challenges.
Certainly, yes.
Yeah.
Great.
So those are discussing some of the different dignities and ways that the Venus relates to the different Rashis and relates to the different planets, and how those conjunction and alignments will be influencing the Shukraya type karma. Now I would like to focus on the part of the presentation which is I am most excited about, which is how to improve our Shukraya karma. Now we've analyzed it. We've gotten to know many different aspects of the Shukraya karma, how it shows up in specific conjunctions and in different energies in different houses. And now that we have that understanding, what can we do from an ancient, contemporary, and Ayurvedic perspective to improve this planetary karma with Venus in our lifetime? This is my greatest passion, to share this part. We can honor Shukraya every day, but Shukraya is strongest on Friday, and so is the most beneficial day for honor, which is why, of course, I chose Friday. We honor Venus by wearing the colors purple, gray, and white, as well as clothing made of very high quality materials. So always the clothing is of the highest quality, like, cashmere, silk, suit, nice suits, leather, or, well, not always leather. Some people don't like leather, but basically things that are made of the highest quality, and also highly emphasizing to the colors purple, gray, and white. Very auspicious in honor of Shukra. We honor Venus through traditional Shukraya mantra, which we performed at the beginning of this webinar, including the full sutra and repetition of the tantric mantra, or the bija sound, the seed sound, 108 times. And generally, this should only take about 20 minutes and is a great way to incorporate into our Friday night practices in order to improve our karma with Venus. We honor Shukraya through prayer in front of a well-designed Venus yantra as well. And Venus yantras are some of the most beautiful yantras out there. So if you have a chance, find a beautiful Venus yantra, frame it, put it on your altar. It can bring a lot of beauty and positivity into one's life. It's a great piece of art to have in one's home, our Venus yantra. Now, we honor Venus by wearing the gemstones diamond, white sapphire, and white topaz set in a silver setting on the ring finger. Sometimes it's worn on the pinky finger. Most commonly, it's worn on the ring finger. And the primary gemstone is diamond. Diamond is Venus's best friend. So this is very important to understand. There's no better gem for Venus than the most classic and most beautiful of all gems, the diamond. It is particularly important because Venus carries strong vibrations from it, that when sourcing diamonds, that that they are humanely and ethically sourced. This is just a small point that I like to make because the Shukraya contains these energies that you might pick up on. It's important because many diamonds come from countries where there is war and blood because of diamond. So it is important when you get your diamond that is, that it is humanely and ethically sourced, so that it does not contain these vibrations.
Just a small point. You cannot wear the diamond into silver setting, because diamond is the most hardest of all the stones. It will cut the silver. It will fall apart. So white gold.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I can't afford a diamond, so
Well, it is. Look, it is not that expensive anymore. It is really reachable. doesn't have to be a 1 carat stone or larger. It can be a small piece to start with, you know, and you should set it in white gold.
I love that.
Always.
Because silver is, even though
it's
silver,
too soft.
It is associated with Venus, but it's not high quality enough of a material. It seems that the white.
It is too soft.
Yeah, you need a superior material. I thank you for sharing that.
Most welcome.
Yeah, and so white topaz is a very inexpensive Venus gem, though. So for those that are trying to afford an affordable Venus gem, white topaz is very affordable. It should beautiful. It comes from Brazil naturally, unheated and untreated. So I love the Brazilian unheated topaz for Venus as an affordable gemstone. It has to be clear. Now, one of the things that's interesting is that the gemstone with Venus, when you're just working on Venus karma alone, has to be a very pure diamond, has to be a very clear topaz, has to be very, very white sapphire, has to be a very beautiful, brilliant diamond. But depending on some of your other karmic aspects, let's say Venus is conjunct with Jupiter, well, this would show that it might be more beneficial for you to have a yellow diamond. Or if Venus is conjunct with Saturn, it might be most beneficial for you to have a black diamond. These are just another interesting interpretation of potentially, because diamonds come in many different forms and colors. If you have Mercury and Venus, maybe you have green diamond. So there are these energies that you can also work with diamond, and depending on the aspects and conjunctions in your chart of Venus, these different forms of diamond.
But one should go for diamond and not for the other stones, because they have a different, every gemstone in this world has a particular structure of the mineral aspects inside. And the structure of a topaz and the structure of a sapphire and the structure of a diamond, they're entirely different. Some are rhombic, some are cubic, some are triangular, you know?
Yeah.
So this is really different, and they support different aspects.
Yeah, definitely. There's nothing, as mentioned, diamond is a Venus's best friend.
Yes. So go for a small one, but go for a diamond. If you want to wear a stone. Yeah. Small, tiny.
Yeah.
It may lead you to a bigger one itself.
Ah, that's beautiful, because of Lord of Wealth. Yeah. So again, just to kind of go over some of my studies and beliefs as far as wearing the gems, that is traditional to be worn on the right hand for a man and the left hand for a female. But it's also common to wear the gem on the right hand when you are increasing an overall energy that is already benefic, but you wear on the left hand or the non-dominant hand when you are specifically trying to decrease a malefic energy. Again, this is just one theory in terms of gemstones and how to wear them. So if your Venus was debilitated, I would generally encourage to wear it on the non-dominant hand. But if Venus was in a better position, maybe on the dominant hand.
So what if Venus is, what if the left hand is a dominant hand?
Then you wear on the non-dominant
you go
hand.
by reverse. Okay.
Yeah. So it has to do with like the Ida Pingala Nadi and which side is dominated for the individual. And if you're naturally left-handed, then if you want to decrease malefic, you would wear it on the right hand.
Okay.
Yes, because the left-handed are indicated to that side of the nadi. So we also honor Venus through honoring Lord Indra, Sachi Devi, wife of Lord Indra, and Lakshmi. These are the three most commonly associated in my studies with honoring Venus and Shukraya karma. So we improve our karma with Shukraya. One of the best ways that we can improve our karma with Shukraya is through a lifestyle that allows for full maturity, refinement, and sophistication of the senses, Indriyani. So basically, one of the best things that we can do to improve our karma with Venus is refine and sophisticate our senses. Due to Venus's connection of duality in the senses, we improve our karma with Venus by indulging and provoking and activating the senses in only the most refined and sophisticated manner. So we improve our karma with Venus when we enjoy things in the most refined and sophisticated manners. If they are enjoyed in a not moderate way, if they are enjoyed in an excessive way, if they are enjoyed in a unrefined or unsophisticated way, it is only challenging your karma with Venus. Venus karma is only improved when we enjoy these things in the most sophisticated and refined of ways. And so basically, to summarize that, we honor Venus through emphasizing quality over quantity. That's why, Inge, I love what you said. Most important thing, get a small diamond over these other gems. Of course, because Venus emphasized quality. It doesn't, whenever we are talking about Venus, it is so important that we always emphasize quality over quantity. And usually some of the challenging karmas with Venus is when natives emphasize quantity over quality. This can be very challenging to the Venus type karma because it doesn't allow for the maturity or growth of the Indriyani senses, Lord of the senses. For example, we honor Venus through the enjoyment of foods of the highest quality, emphasizing natural, organic, and foods of the highest quality. For example, we honor Venus through a glass or two of extremely nice wine or champagne. I am a firm believer that Venus would like you to have 1 to 2 glasses of really high quality wine or champagne. But we lose that honoring of Venus when we intoxicate or consume any substance out of moderation. So as soon as you've had the 3rd glass, you've automatically lost the potential to improve your karma with Venus. And again, you're just kind of creating more negative karma. But again, using these things in the proper way, improve the karma with Venus. We can achieve greater harmony with Venus when using the external world in a moderate and refined way to encourage pleasure, particularly of the senses. It says that Venus likes it when we use things to enhance an experience. But as soon as that thing that we're using to enhance the experience creates an experience or karma in itself, we lose the positive karma with Venus. So things can only be used to enhance. They can't be used as into their own, to create their own karmic experience themselves. We can achieve greater harmony with Venus when using this external world in a moderate way to encourage pleasure, particularly of the senses. This harmony is deeply disturbed when we indulge in these things in an unrefined way, whether it's food or wine. Whenever we overindulge or indulge in these things improperly, eat fast food, go to McDonald's, all of these things very bad for the karma with Venus.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, thank you, Bettina. It's, I feel like I just see, I'm driving through and I see all the people in the line at the fast food restaurant and I'm thinking, oh my God, they have such tough karma with Venus to work with.
Yes.
So we improve our karma with Venus by emphasizing the beauty of life as it manifests in the fields of art, music, and entertainment. This is one of the most enjoyable and pleasurable ways to improve our karma with Venus. So we improve our relationship with Shukraya by devoting time, energy, and passion to the arts in all of its manifestations. This includes painting, photography, installation, architecture, Jyotish, music, Vastu, and many more expressions of the art, including the mystical. So all of these manifestations of art improve our karma with Venus. We improve our karma with Venus by devoting time, energy, and passion to music in all of its manifestation, both in the performance, us playing the music, and in the attendance of the music. All of these things improve the Venus karma. And we honor and cultivate a harmonious relationship with Venus through music very often. It can greatly improve the relationship with Venus. And it is highly auspicious to participate in music-related activities in honor of Venus, both the playing and attending. We improve our Shukraya related karma by devoting time, energy, and passion to entertainment in all of its manifestations. This includes film, cinema, theater, fashion, and gaming. It will greatly improve our karma related to Shukraya to emphasize these aspects and honor these aspects of entertainment in one's life in a refined and sophisticated fashion. It's a very auspicious and enjoyable way to work with Venus, is to explore art, music, and entertainment in all of these ways. We improve our karma with Venus by refining and bringing spiritual evolution to our relationship with money and wealth. We talked about all of Venus's karma's indications in its relationship to wealth in our life. This means we improve our karma with Shukra by having the proper spiritual relationship and understanding with money and wealth. This means to not overvalue money or to give too much weight or influence to money in one's life. So money cannot be the dominated factor in one's life for those that are trying to really improve their karma with Venus, to not overvalue it. There are things that are more important than money, but money is important. And this is also to not allow money to control one's intentions, ambitions, or motivations. So to not allow money to be the primary determinant in one's intentions, ambitions, and motivations. This is also another way to improve our karma with Venus. But at the same token, this means to not undervalue money, and therefore to be able to accumulate finances and money through understanding its necessity in our world, and particularly in this time of the Kali Yuga. The Kali Yuga is the time of money. It is the time of the dollar. They say, you know, on the dollar bill, it says in the United States, we believe in God. But really, I think there's more of a belief in money sometimes in the world, and that money is actually almost an idolatry before God in the world that we live in this Kali Yuga. So we can't overvalue money, but we cannot undervalue money. And this proper relationship and cultivation with money is heavily improving to the karma with Venus. So we honor Venus by using money and treating money with the utmost refinement and sophistication, which means that we spend money properly on only the most refined, sophisticated, and items of superior quality. So basically, you can't spend money on things that don't have quality. I say that to not spend it on frivolous or unnecessary things, to spend the money properly on the things that it is needed for, and that are things that are of value, of high quality. This is important. And the Venus karma is also improved by our ability to save money at necessary or important times. People with debilitated Venus and challenged Venus karmas, they spend money very quickly and also have challenge making money. So Venus karma is always improved in our ability to save money at necessary and important times, to not spend money when we should be saving it.
Oh, yes. Well said. Good point.
Thank you. We honor Shukra and improve our karma with Venus by honoring and emphasizing the romantic soulmate partnership aspects of our soul's journey. So another way that we continue to improve our karma with Venus is to explore this this energy of romance, soulmate partnership. No matter how many divorce you go through, no matter how many breakup you go through, no matter how many heartbreak you go through, that it's still presenting an opportunity to improve your karma with Venus if you are willing to go out and put your heart out there again. This means Venus karma is greatly improved and made more auspicious by emphasizing the devotional and spiritual nature of the soulmate or partnership aspect of Venus. So we really honor Venus by honoring our partner and our devotion to that. Therefore, in honor of Venus, it's auspicious we go on dates with our partners or spouse. And even if we don't have a partner or spouse, it's auspicious to go on a date in honor of Venus. And we also enjoy the romantic aspects of life and endeavors when it's possible. So if we really do want to improve the karma with Venus. No matter how challenging it can be, it is always encouraged to go on dates and to enjoy these romantic aspects of life in whichever way is possible. Sometimes our career prevents this, sometimes our work prevents this, sometimes our priorities prevents this. But when it comes to improving our karma with Venus, it is helpful to prioritize this exploration. We also honor and improve our Venus karma through intimacy in relationship with our partner, soulmate, or spouse. I'm talking about sexual intimacy is particularly emphasized in honor of Venus and is highly auspicious in planetary karma improvement for soulmate, spouses, or partners in a relationship. I'm only encouraging this for people who are married or devoted to each other in a monogamous relationship, not encouraging any kind of non-monogamous sexual intimacy. I'm only saying that for those that we are monogamous and in devotion to, it is very great honoring of Venus and improving our karma with Venus when we explore the sexual relationship with our partner, like the Kama Sutra and Tantra and all of the possibilities in that area. From an Ayurvedic perspective, Venus is related to Kapha primarily, but is a dual dosha planet and also contains high concentrations of the Vata dosha, which relates earlier to our discussion that Venus has both sattvic and rajasic qualities. Venus is often associated with pleasure and indulgence of the senses, and so many of the Kapha-related Venus difficulties fall under this umbrella. So the Kapha difficulties associated with Venus can be associated with overpleasure or overindulgence of the senses. Now, Venus duality and changes in terms of wealth and relationships. So the duality of life in terms of money and relationship results to some of its more aggravating qualities. Whenever there is challenging in money or relationship, it aggravates the Vata dosha because we feel insecure, we feel unsafe, we feel unsettled. So the challenges to wealth and money, they describe the more Vata quality of the Venus type karma. And so inconsistency or challenges in this area can deeply disturb the Vata dosha as well. If native is suffering with Kapha-related Venus health karma, because as I mentioned, if Venus is in the 6th, 8th, or 12th house or in the Lagna and in a difficult position, you may be even having a Kapha-type vitiation or health karma from it, or a Vata type, because it's a dual doshic planet, of course, depending on the Rashi that it's in and the conjunctions and aspects. If the native is suffering with Kapha-related Venus health karma, that means they possess excess amounts of certain qualities that are in Kapha. This includes heavy, dense, hard, slow, soft, and still. All of these qualities would be excessive within those individuals suffering from Venus-related health difficulties. These qualities of Kapha aggravation related to Shukra can be greatly remediated by emphasizing the opposing qualities of one life. So if there's too much of these heavy Kapha qualities, it is important to invite the qualities of light, warm, sharp, and mobile. So basically, there's a warm, active sharpness that counteracts the Kapha-related difficulties that relate to Venus. So basically, if someone is having a Kapha-type Venus difficulty, which they are eating too much, they are drinking too much, they are smoking too much, then they can really benefit by exercise and intellectual activity. This is activating sharp and mobile. So basically, there's a counteraction there that is very beneficial. If the native is suffering with Vata-related Venus health karma, which often comes up as well, which means they would have excess amounts of light, dry, rough, cold, clear, and mobile within their system. The qualities of Vata aggravation related to Shukra can be greatly remediated or balanced by emphasizing heavy, warm, soft, and slow. So if Venus is causing the duality and is causing unsettledness, fear, instability, insecurity in one's life, then we heavily pacify these energies by adding heaviness in one's life, warmth in one's life, softness in one's life, slowness in one's life. These energies are very balancing to the Vata type difficulties of Shukra. Now, for kapha-related venous health difficulties, you want to do Lungana, lightning therapy, such as Ayurvedic Vamana, fasting, and sobriety are all very supportive. And I always encourage for the venous-related kapha dushtis, Pornarnava, Kutki, and Gugalu. These are great herbs for venous kapha-type difficulties, Pornarnava, Kutki, and Gugalu, and can be very supportive for venous-related kapha-type difficulties. Now, you have to know if the health challenges you're facing with Venus are of a kapha or a Venus nature. If they're of Vata nature. If they're of a Vata nature, you do not want to be taking these kapha herbs. It will be heavily aggravating to your system. Now, for the Vata-related Shukra health difficulties, it's more important to do Brahmana therapies, nourishing, building therapies, such as the internal use of oil/ghee, taking internal ghee, taking Shatavari ghee, taking Vidari ghee, and also oil self-massage, Abhyanga, are highly encouraged for Venus-type Vata dushtis. The herbs Vidari, Shatavari, Jadamansi, Ashwagandha, and Kapikachu can all be very supportive for the more Vata-type Venus health difficulties. And again, if you are suffering from kapha-type Venus difficulties, you do not want to be taking these Vata herbs. They will only exacerbate the situation. So it's important to understand in understanding our own health influence from Venus. Is it influencing kapha in a more negative way or Vata? Because that's how we will know how to treat it properly. Beautiful. Wow, so we're at the time for examples from the community. How exciting. It's been so an honor to discuss the beauty of Shukraya and how to work with it. And let's take a look at some examples from the community.
What do you think of a 5-minute break?
Okay.
Just to drink something, to refresh, and we continue in 5 minutes?
That sounds perfect. I'm going to go get a glass of water.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Namah I'll be right back.
Just a few minutes for Kṣaṇāti to refresh his voice. Right? So we are right back. Just a few seconds.
Namaste, everyone. Just taking a look at some of the comments.
Oh yeah, I was just doing the same. So I guess wearing the ring on the thumb is a no-no.
I've never been instructed on thumb rings, but I have seen them.
What I've heard is the small finger. Did you mention the small finger?
Pinky, yeah.
The pinky, yes. Did you? Okay.
Yeah. And actually,
the pinky or the ring finger.
Yeah, especially with the feminine vibration, the pinky finger is very nice. Yeah, but if it's like focused on relationship, then the ring finger, I think. But I think if it's around something like wealth, then the pinky finger can be more beneficial.
Okay.
Yes, Venus does give artistic tendencies in Aries. But yeah, it definitely does give artistic tendencies, makes for a very passionate individual. Okay.
Just one more point was coming to my brain. It is really a good humor is also very Venus-like. To develop a good humor, you know?
Yeah.
To make things more light.
Yes, lightness, exactly.
Instead of heavy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Light and bright.
Yeah.
Light and bright. Also according to Uttara Kalamrit, speak this, one of the attributes of Venus.
Humor is the greatest medicine.
Yes.
So it's very building to the ojas, very building to the system and sustaining to the system. And yeah, I definitely feel that Venus will help give a joyful and comedic disposition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Joyful.
Great. So shall we pull Krishna B onto the webinar?
Yes, Bettina, you have to do it because I have no command over these things.
Maybe if you can raise your hand.
The attendees are in alphabetical order. You just have to go into the attendees.
I need my glasses.
And just go to K, and you're gonna find.
There's no K.
No Krishna B.
She didn't make it. No Krishna B.
She's a
maybe
female.
under a different name.
Yes.
Well,
if you're there, just raise your hand on the webinar function.
Yeah, just say hello in the chat if you're here, Krishna B. We talked via email.
Okay.
So did she mention anything in the chat? I don't have that.
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, maybe we'll go back to her example if she announces herself.
Right.
Did a lot of work on that. Okay. Aditi Mahajan.
Aditi?
Yes.
Let's look at Aditi's question.
Okay, but I have no command.
You neither?
I can't.
Let me see.
Get anyone online.
1 minute. I made you host now. Try now.
Yes, okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Great. There is always slight difficulties with the Zoom.
Yeah. I mean,
after Sunil logged in from the same under the same name, you know, then it happens.
Okay. Yeah.
Here is Aditi.
Okay.
Namaskar.
Namaste, Aditi.
Can you unmute yourself, Aditi?
I can do it. Yes.
Okay.
Done.
Namaste, Aditi. Namaste, Aditi.
Can't listen you.
Can you hear us, Aditi?
Aditi.
She can listen us, but we can't listen
we can't
to her.
We can't hear you.
Do you have, does she have a microphone?
Now,
Now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Namaste, Aditi.
Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you.
Namaste.
So nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us for this webinar today.
Very interesting and informative webinar.
Thank you.
Spectrum Venus. Every my query was very, deeply answered, like debilation of Venus and how to improve the karmas.
Beautiful. I want to talk a little bit about how maybe we can help it specifically for you as well, particularly in your chart. But the original question you asked was to share the information on the debilitated Venus in the webinar, and we've certainly done that. And
Yes.
how are people with debilitated Venus characterized? Do they have less comfort, less beauty? What should people with debilitated Venus learn in life and improve in life? And I did think that we covered this in detail when we talked about the debilitated Venus, but I want to talk about it again specifically for your chart and to support you as well.
Okay.
This is your correct chart. You are Aquarius Lagna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, and it looks like the Venus is debilitated in the 8th house.
Yes.
So,
With conjunction.
yeah, with many conjunction, Sun, Jupiter, Mercury. Oh, and Mercury is very strong there. So your question of the karma and the potential to improve the karma of the debilitated Venus is was one of my favorite questions. Actually, I spent, before I even received your question, I spent more time talking about debilitated Venus than almost any other aspect because, like you mentioned, I feel it is so important. And there isn't as much information as there could be on it. Those individuals with karma of debilitated Venus have struggles finding balance and harmony in the world and opposing forces of duality for many lifetimes. So, excuse me, basically there is some difficulty from the past lifetime perspective in terms of these opposing forces and being on the extreme or dualistic side of these opposing forces. They don't necessarily have less comforts or less beauty in terms of quantity and accumulation karma, but more so will give too much spiritual or life value to those aspects of life. People with debilitated Venus need to focus strongly on a path of non-duality, Vedanta philosophy, which is a path of no extreme. This debilitation is naturally indicated to an extreme nature for many lifetimes. And so the greatest karmic improvement takes place in terms of finding balance, moderation, refinement, and sophistication in one's life, as well as all aspects of removing duality. So, in other words, to not overemphasize the external world, but to truly find its proper value to allow for the karmic and improvement and evolution with Venus. And so when Venus is posited directly in 8th house in your chart, this shows a karmic improvement and evolution is highly supportive of your mystical and spiritual path, particularly towards your advancement to moksha. So all of these dualistic challenges that you may face, even though they might be very difficult on the material realm, because Venus is in the 8th house, it is supportive of your spiritual evolution and your alignment towards your moksha.
Okay.
How does all of that resonate?
Yeah, I can resonate very well to it. And right now I am living a, extreme kind of, I'm living in an extreme. Duality is there.
Yeah.
Vedanta lifestyle, no, not at all right now. But I'm looking very, I'm looking to, balance my life, bring harmony in it. So that's why this was very important to me, where I couldn't find any information also, and anyone to guide me also. Okay, how can I improve my karma, Venus with karma with Venus? So.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to help and support you, and I am so grateful that this information has been helpful for you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Aditi. So is Elaine here? Elaine, I think Fonseca, Elaine Bernardes da Fonseca. Thank you, Aditi. It was a pleasure to meet you. Namah Shivaya. Namaste.
Sorry, who are we looking for? Elaine.
Elaine Bernardes da Fonseca.
Elaine, yes.
Namaste, Elaine. Oh, can you unmute your mic, Elaine? I think there's your mic is muted.
I can't unmute her.
You can't?
No.
Can she unmute it?
Yeah.
Elaine, can you?
No, I cannot. You must with Madhura.
Oh, I thought she just did. Oh, I thought she just did first.
We got it.
Good.
Elaine? Did we lose her?
No,
Elaine?
she's there.
Oh.
Hello.
Oh, namaste, Elaine. Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
Can you, okay, we have you clearly here. Wonderful. Okay. Little feedback. Okay. So Elaine, you asked two questions, which I would like to address for you.
I want to know more about my moon Venus.
Yeah, I definitely discussed that. So the two questions that you had sent in to me was one that you have Venus in Sagittarius in 4th and Moon in Sagittarius at 4. Moon and Venus together act like enemies. Can it represent another people of my family? For example, your mother had a problem with your grandfather and her mother-in-law and the sister of your father. So can these indications signify that?
Yes.
The second question is that it was a question, does Moon and Venus give financial problems? I have Venus in the star of Mula, which is a Ketu nakshatra, and I've had problems with beauty. I don't like, and I don't have much money to wear good clothes and fashion clothes. In relationship issues, the Moon is a lesser degree than Venus wins planetary war. Is it better or not? These are your questions, yes?
Yes, yes.
And I have you as a Virgo lagna with Venus and Moon in Sagittarius in the 4th house.
Yes.
Okay. So to answer your first question, yes, in a traditional context, the Moon and Venus are understood to have an enemy relationship with each other. It is not so much that the Moon does not get along with Venus, but more so that the Venus is too refined, sophisticated, and mature for the Moon's emotional-oriented and often indulgent vibrations. Definitely, Venus-Moon conjunction in 4th house in fire sign, which is Sagittarius, can show conflicts between female members of your family, particularly those which relate to the mother and grandmother, emphasized both by the 4th house and the Moon-Venus conjunction in Sagittarius. So yes, your intuition was right. This can definitely cause difficulties between female members of the family.
A lot of problems.
Mm-hmm. And because they're so close, only 4 degrees apart, that will make that these challenges further emphasized. Like you said, it will kind of act like a war because these planets are so close. Now, Moon and Venus conjunction in itself without any other aspects does not necessarily indicate financial difficulties. When Venus is in Ketu nakshatra, since Ketu emphasizes moksha and Venus represents materiality, this conjunction can definitely emphasize your relationship with beauty, fashion, as well as finances and money. It is encouraging your moksha.
Just a small 1 minute, Kṣaṇāti, sorry. Elaine, can you please stop your background noise? You have a TV running there or something.
I can't because I am in a coffee house.
Ah, I see.
You don't have a headset?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Good. Then we have to do it like that.
No problem.
Okay.
So it is encouraging your moksha in relationship to the outside world. And the fourth house is a moksha house as well. So this moksha is further emphasized. In this situation, I would not necessarily consider this war a war that is best understood in terms of a win and a loss. So I'm saying that I don't think the best way to understand this war is to understand who's winning and who's losing. Rather, these two very feminine planets are coming together and saying that the unconditionally loving emotional aspect of you, as well as the aspect of you which enjoys the beauty and pleasures of life, must be equally honored for your happiness and success in relationship and other aspects of well. So this is a challenge, but it's really about uniting these two energies.
But Venus is losing the war because Moon is in lesser degree.
Yes.
And okay, thanks.
Yeah, but I feel that it's more about the harmonization of bringing those two energies into balance with each other, both the external world and the loving devotional realm.
Thanks, Kṣaṇāti.
Thank you, Elaine. It was a pleasure to meet you. Om Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya.
Okay, Bettina, can we bring in O.S. Kempwatt?
Yes, certainly.
He says yes, or she, I don't know yet.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We think technique is very fast, but it is not always.
It takes a little moment, yes.
Namaste, O.S.
Can we unmute, Inga?
I have absolutely no functionality after Sunil logged in. I may log out and log in again.
Yes, I can hear
Namaste, Ji. Namaste, Ji.
Namaste.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for sharing this enthusiasm of this webinar with me.
Yes.
I feel your energy and enthusiasm. You're a very bright soul.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at your question together, my friend. So you mentioned personally you have Venus in Venus is 5th Lord and 12th Lord in your chart. And last August, you lost your wife.
Yes.
In your late wife's chart, her exalted Venus was sitting in the 12th house and was Lord of the 2nd and 7th. And you asked, with the above karma, how would like to learn about the possibilities of overcoming such a difficult situation or karma?
Yes.
You are a Gemini Lagna with Venus debilitated in 4th house.
Yes.
Namaste, my brother. My deepest sympathies for you. When first I received this question, all I could do was meditate in feeling sympathy and compassion for you, and just wanting to be able to support you, your journey through this challenging karma in whichever way I can. Now, Venus debilitated in 4th house certainly has significations or indications relating to becoming a widow or the loss of a spouse or a partner, because the 4th house is a moksha house. So the debilitation in the 4th house could definitely show becoming a widow or the early loss of your mother, and definitely has these strong indications. So it is certainly a karma that you can see in the chart. Now, debilitated Venus representing extremism and duality in the experience. So this becoming a widow is a very dualistic experience and a challenging dualistic experience. And the 4th house being a moksha house with Venus, signifying the partner as well. So all these points I'm saying that I do feel and see it strongly in your chart representing through your 4th house. As also Venus is the rulership of your 12th house. So in terms of remediation, the karma is severe, but can certainly be improved through lifetime despite the challenging nature of this karma. Your ability to enjoy life properly is going to be one of the greatest things to remediate this karma. And we talked about some of those methods, but for you, I was particularly emphasizing your ability to enjoy art, music, and entertainment, and all of the beautiful things that life has to offer. Maybe your late wife was able to appreciate those things, and it's harder to appreciate those things without her, but it is also still very important in terms of the remediation. This isn't always something a native is open to after becoming a widow, but it is also can be positive to be dating, the possibility of dating and the possibility of finding a new partner or being in another relationship. This is sometimes after we lose our partner, we do not want to be with anyone else for the rest of our life. But sometimes when we lose our partner, we can be open to the possibilities of us finding another partner. And this can sometimes improve this karma as well. So your ability to find balance and harmony, as well as enjoy all of the beautiful external aspects of life, and your openness to the future possibilities of future relationships can really help overcome and work through which has been a very challenging karma, which I have a profound amount of compassion for. Again, my greatest love and compassion for you at this time. I hope that has been helpful.
Okay, yes. Yes, but since I have been also reading this through, just I thought of sharing that idea, what I learned from, I may be wrong again, and it is creating kind of insecurity feeling for whether I should go for the second marriage or not. Because one of my my brother-in-law, in his chart also I saw that Venus is exalted in Pisces, and he lost first wife, second did not work, and then third is he has got married third time. So again, I have gone through some of the charts where I don't know, somewhere it is saying better avoid that is to avoid that kind of painful experience again.
Yeah, and that can certainly be showing up through the debilitated Venus. Earlier in the webinar, I mentioned how sometimes that we have to experience the duality for this entire lifetime to experience the not duality in this lifetime. And one aspect of the duality was that this was your soulmate in this lifetime, that person was your soulmate in this lifetime, and they energetically might be your soulmate for the rest of your lifetime, even though they're still not here. And it might not be until the next lifetime that there's the karma to really explore that. So I definitely could see the possibility of the energy going towards more of this was my life soulmate vibration, and kind of just working through that in a spiritual way. So both that approach, as well as getting out there and dating, yes, you put yourself in vulnerability to have this challenging karma manifest itself again. But you have the moon in the 7th house. So I was feeling that there would be a natural, very strong devotional nature to you and to the partner. So you will always be connected to your wife. Is one of the things that I felt looking at your chart. And in that connection, I can understand how it would be challenging to make a new connection as well, when that connection is still strong, is still very profound. And the devotion.
Okay. Now, one more thing I want to share with you, because now, since I'm moving into this space, there is a proposal, and I can see that in that chart, that Venus and Mars is in 12th house, because Lagna is Sagittarius, and there are many planets like only Sun, Jupiter, Mercury, and the Moon are in Lagna, and Saturn is in 6th house, Taurus, and Ketu is in 7th house, Rahu is in the 1st house again. So again here I see a strong Manglik in her chart, and the second, she has already been divorced, and it was a love marriage for her. So again, that is, she is very much keen whether to accept or not accept. I am in a dilemma.
Yeah, and again, from the debilitated perspective, it is a movable karma. So there would be certainly the possibility for you to have another marriage or relationship. The possibility is certain there. But again, the choice is always with you. But the possibility of another relationship, I feel strong in your chart.
Okay. Okay.
But it will take some time. Yeah. Yeah.
Fine.
And you're also going in a Sagittarius. So when Saturn leaves Sagittarius, it will be a very different vibration for you.
So, so another 2.5 years, roughly 2.5 years, I think then.
Yeah. And the Sagittarius could also be showing the time in which you became a widow and the moksha of your wife. The Sagittarius. Because the Sati is aspecting 7th house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, thank you, my brother. It's been such an honor to get to know you.
Thank you.
Om Namah Shivaya. Namaste. So, just one more check if Krishna B is here. Did we ever hear from Krishna B?
Okay, let's see.
In between, there was nothing, I believe. No hello, so probably not arrived.
Okay. Well, let's take some live questions then. Let's take some live questioning.
Are there any? Because I can't access the question and answer panel.
Oh, okay.
We have questions.
Okay, I have the Q&A here.
Okay, yes.
Okay. So what would be the impact of the upcoming Venus transit to Aries for people whose natal Venus is 29 degrees of Pisces? Okay, so they're going to go through a Venus return. That's going to be very profound. And usually Venus return, these karmas in terms of wealth and romances, they will really bring it back to you very strong in terms of those energies. So it's the return of those karmas. Again, depending on the position, you said Venus is in Aries, so it's going to have a mixed effect. So there is a great potential for a mixed effect in terms of the karmas, in terms of your wealth and finances at this time of the return. But it could be a reorganization or reorientation to certain aspects of your future, which you need to be in alignment for your balance and harmony. Okay. Oh, wow. Now lots of questions coming in. Okay. Oh, okay. If I hit answer live, does that pull them in?
No, it just shows that it's answered.
Okay.
That the question is answered.
Okay. Let me go back and I wear diamond and silver. Okay. Some people like silver.
There was another point to that, which I would love to say, just as it came now. Gold is very expensive also. White gold also, yeah? So, but one can put it into a very small white gold square, for example, and then on top of a silver ring. That would also work. Because gold and silver connect with each other, and on top the diamond fixed in a very tiny piece of gold. So that diamond will be held via gold, and the gold will be held via silver. So that will be much more cheaper.
That's an interesting thought.
Price-wise.
But how about the stone having to touch the skin?
Yes, it have to be open from down.
Especially with Sattvic or benefic. Let's just use the word benefic, especially with benefic planet. Sometimes one of my astrology teachers says that on certain malefic karma, he closed the back as protection.
Oh, interesting.
Then why he wear the ring?
To improve the relationship. So it's like
the energy is not so strong then?
Yeah, it's more like like it's like
it's like a homeopathic therapy, yes?
Yeah, exactly. It's like symbolic, I was gonna say.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So like sometimes with blue sapphire, hessonite, cat's eye, my teacher Mahadev, he says, oh, maybe you don't want it to touch the skin, so you don't need that extra energy.
That is Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the three of them, you know.
Yeah. So, could you please throw some light on combust Venus, which is frequent? Well, sorry, I just lost it. Well, honoring Venus. I just have to open this up. Okay. Okay. So, could you please throw some light on combust Venus, which is frequent? Asked Ramakrishna. Will honoring Venus through music or arts help such a situation? So when Venus is combust, first of all, Venus and the sun don't necessarily have the most positive relationship. When Venus is combust, sometimes what that means is our desire, our individual will, our ego, our individual self, our desire for power, our desire for strength, our desire for success, that these things overpower the enjoyment of life. They overpower maybe the relationship karma. They might overpower the financial karma. So basically, when the Venus is heavily combust, that sometimes our soul's desire for success and power can overwhelm Venus's traditional significations and therefore kind of eliminate them or unprioritize them. Okay. What would be the okay? Any other questions that are jumping out?
Please answer the question about exalted Venus, Maraka, and living on its planetary line.
Okay, so living on an exalted Venus line in astrocartography. Is that the question? That's
yes.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great question. So Venus line in general for astrocartography is usually beneficial. Even people with the debilitated Venus, I find they do good by their Venus line. So the Venus line in general, it's a benefic line. Now, if Venus is debilitated and there are other malefic planets around there, it can be more challenging. But overall, the Venus line for the astrocartography is very benefic. When the Venus line becomes exalted, it shows a particular affinity to that place, which will be concentrated with incredible beauty, which will be concentrated with incredible pleasure, which will be concentrated with incredible joy. Now, of course, this depends on the position or house of the exalted Venus. But basically, this vibration will bring happiness and pleasure and encourages romantic potential, encourages wealth potential. And this could just be a very positive line in terms of the beauty and joy and happiness that this place will bring you. It is a place that enlivens the senses. I've seen exalted people with exalted Venus, and they have these exalted Venus lines in these beautiful places like, Spain and Greece and France and New Zealand and all of these interesting places that when they go there, they experience profound happiness and beauty. And if Venus is debilitated, you're still going to experience happiness and beauty there, but the karmas that relate to Venus might be more challenging, particularly the financial and romantic. So it's much more auspicious when the dignity of that Venus is at least in a friendly position.
Sure. Very well. Okay. Could you please throw some light on combust Venus, which is frequent?
I just answered that one, I think.
Did we do that?
Yeah. Let's take like one or two more questions.
What is the goal of the soul when Venus is Atma Karaka? Aditi asked.
Beautiful. When Venus is the Atma Karaka, it has profound significations in a couple ways. When Venus is the Atma Karaka, we talked about this balance and harmony with every aspect of the universe. Well, when Venus is the Atma Karaka, it's going to be heavily seeking to put you in balance and harmony with all of the different aspects of the universe, and usually shows a soul that is seeking balance and harmony and emphasizing balance and harmony. Now, when Venus is also the Atma Karaka, it can show that there are certain challenges. Of course, it depends on the dignity and everything of Venus. But when Venus is the Atma Karaka, it emphasizes this experience of duality and the karmas of romance and wealth throughout one's lifetime. Because it emphasizes these karmas, usually they have to go through dualistic experiences as relates to these karmas. Now, if Venus is exalted in her positive position, they might have good financial karma. They might have good relationship karma. But basically, by having Venus as the Atma Karaka, it really prioritizes these aspects throughout your life.
Great.
That was the only question I could see.
Okay, there's another one
in the chat,
which I think is good. Why is Venus considered good in the 12th house, even though we know the 12th house is a bad house?
Why is Venus considered good in the 12th house? Well, the 12th house is naturally associated with the sign of Pisces. And if we remember correctly, the Venus is exalted in Pisces. So there is a direct connection there between the natural significations of Pisces in the 12th house. Now, it is a very positive experience to have Venus in the 12th house, because Venus can represent our material or experience, our relationship with money, our relationship with the opposite sex and our partners. And the 12th house is the house of moksha and non-attachment. So having Venus in the 12th house could be very, very beneficial spiritually, because Venus is helping you rid you of your material attachment. So there is a strong karma or energy of Venus in the 12th house of your spiritual evolution and moksha related to letting go of your worldly attachments and desires. And so it can be very positive alignment spiritually as well.
Very well. Okay, how about, should one try to improve Venus where it rules negative houses?
Yes. Well, my basic understanding is no matter what Venus is having an influence over, if you don't want to improve your karma with Venus in this lifetime, that's fine, but you'll just have to come back in the next lifetime to do it. It's kind of an overall philosophical idea that all of our karma that we're experiencing with these planets is inherited from our past lifetimes. And so we have a choice in every decision we make of whether we seek to improve that karma or just create more negative karma. But just because Venus can be challenging in the 3rd house, 6th house, 8th house, and these different vibrations, that doesn't mean that you don't want to work on these karmas. I actually might say that you want to work on them even more, because if you don't, they're just going to come back to haunt you in the next life.
Yes, and especially since Venus is a benefic planet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. It provides great pleasure to work with Venus. It provides great joy and happiness and love of life, joy of life to work with Venus. So even if the challenge is there, I still definitely encourage it.
Right, right.
There is also one question in the chat from Fanny Prasad. Is the role of Venus in Navamsha more than other planets, since the 9 focus is on marriage and also Venus is relationship as explained? What if it is benefic or debilitated?
In the Navamsha?
Navamsha.
So it's actually very interesting because very often I see it debilitated Venus in the birth chart and it's exalted in the Navamsha, or
Right, yes.
it's exalted in the birth chart but debilitated in the Navamsha. It's strangely common, and
Yes.
I think that Venus does have particular significations in the Navamsha because of its connection to the romance and to the partner in that sense. Now, if Venus is exalted in the birth chart but debilitated in the Navamsha, it could show a very positive romantic karma for you and an extremely challenging romantic karma for your spouse. If it's debilitated in the birth chart but exalted in the Navamsha, maybe your partner has greater relationship and romantic karma, and you're the one that struggles it. So it kind of shows who is going to be the more sophisticated and refined and mature in terms of the approach to the relationship and in terms of the approach to the romance. So if it's debilitated in the Navamsha, then it might be the native that has the more maturity in the relationship. If it's debilitated in the birth chart, then it might be the spouse that has more maturity in the relationship.
Interesting thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you very much coming from his side.
Shall we conclude?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, great. So there's just a few points about this this very in-depth webinar that I kind of want to just bring out and emphasize again in our understanding of the karma with Venus and how to improve it. So Venus, or Shukaya in Sanskrit, is the utmost authority and the greatest guru on the forces of duality that exists within the universe. While Venus' primary significations include love partnerships and wealth finances, it does not necessarily only reward these areas, but also expresses the duality of these aspects in our karmic journey and spiritual evolution. Venus represents the unification of marriage, but dualistically, we must know Venus also has profound influence on the passing of the partner or the divorce, as we saw with one of the examples today. Venus represents the achievement of artha and wealth in the native's life. But dualistically, we must know Venus also has profound influence on bankruptcy, career difficulties, and financial challenges. May we all come to honor the great guru of duality, Shukraya. May we all align with Shukraya's ultimate karma and intention for humanity, which is to become in balance, peace, and harmony with every aspect of the universe. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Kṣaṇāti. It was wonderful as usual.
It's been such a pleasure to talk about Shukraya.
Thanks to everyone attending.
Yes.
Bettina,
Thank you very much.
Yunge, Madura, thank you all so much. So deeply honored for your support and friendship. And to all of the viewers here today, so grateful and that you have attended this webinar. I'd like to give a special thanks to Sunil John for attending our session and saying hello in the beginning, and his constant energetic and emotional love and support for his team members and their
Yes,
work.
absolutely.
Thank you, and thank everyone who made this possible. I am deeply, deeply touched and moved by everyone's devotion to Jyotish.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thanks, everyone.